Welcome. Scott here. Today I am bringing you another Black Clover mobile video. In this video, I will be covering on the upcoming seasonal mages, Party Mimosa and Party William. Let's start off with the overview on Party Mimosa's kit. In general, Party Mimosa is a sense attribute type healer mage. Her key roles involve the following. She is a SSR healer with SP refill mechanics. Unlike her Season 1 counterpart Clover Academy Mimosa, her healing are all single target. Her SP mechanics and mono green passive are the reasons why she is more viable for arena. As always, healers are good for PvE content. If your roster don't have a SSR healer, I would highly recommend you to pick her. Her skill 1 allows her to heal the current party member with the lowest HP ratio. Her skill 2 has chance of HP reduction recovery removal along removal of damage over time mechanics such as electrocute, burn, bleed or poison. She also provides additional offensive utility like magic attack up buff and defense penetration if you have her skill page. Her special is a single target that allows you to resurrect a fallen ally back to 60% HP. Her combo attack allows you to refill the partner mage SP by 2, upgradable to 3. With her passives, she provides support for the party and boosts her own survivability. When you deploy a mono green party, her LR passive will grant the ally with the highest attack stats with the invulnerability buff at the start of your turn. Invulnerability will result the mage to receive no damage. This passive is very useful for arena. At LR plus 2, for every turn that she takes, she will grant all allies SP plus 1 buff. At LR plus 5, on top of the SP refill mechanic, when Party Mimosa was killed in the party, she will heal back all allies to 100% of their max HP. So should I pull for her or select her from the upcoming Gateway of Reunion? In my opinion, there isn't a general consensus on whether to pull for a unit. It really depends on whether you are a free-to-play or having a vast roster already. If your roster is lacking a SSR healer mage, I would highly recommend you to get her. If you have premium SSR healers like Clover Academy Mimosa or Swimsuit Charmy, you can choose Party William over her. But the latter will require heavy party investment to be viable. In my opinion, Party Mimosa offers a more feasible option for new players and free-to-play players. If you can invest in her to LR plus 2, you will unlock her SP refill utility. You can pair her with Ceremony Charlotte for special spamming strategy for PvE content. She can still be used for arena even with base copy. Her skill page will unlock her offensive support buff of her kit, which grant a magic attack up when she acts and defense penetration with her skill 2. Most of the mono green key attackers damage scales off their magic stats like Mirioliana, Licht, Hateful Fauna. If you are unable to obtain her skill page, you can choose give her a HP boosting skill page like the Adventure Journal or SR Charmy skill page since her healing scales off her HP. For gear, the priority gear sets that you should target is the Advanced HP set, the Advanced Defense set and the Advanced Speed set gear pieces. We are about less than a week before her arrival, so start to grind resources such talent seeds, will shards for skills upgrade and focus on start building the gears for her. Now let me go through her kit. First thing first, she is not a damage dealer. So don't feel she isn't good if you don't see big damage output from her. In fact, she helped to improve your party survivability with her healing and offensive buffs utility. If you have invest in her to LR plus 2, she becomes a potent SP refill bot. To upgrade skills, you need to use will shards. Will shards can be bought at the world regional shops monthly. If you upgrade your world reputation to level 2, you will unlock the option to buy the highest tier upgrade material. If you haven't done so, I recommend you to start leveling up the reputation level by doing bond patrol or memory hall fights for that specific world. You can also get skills upgrade materials at your squad shop if you have joined a squad. You can buy them weekly with guild medals or monthly with guild raid coins. So try to level up and join a guild. If you have spending power, you can buy skills enhancement chests at the premium Black Crystal shop. Now let me go through her skill set. Her skill 1 Flower Cradle Strike is a single target HP attack and heals the ally with the lowest HP ratio. The healing will scales off 15% of her own max HP. Her skill 2 Shall We Dance is a non-attacking ability. Upon selecting a designated target, she heal the target, where the healing scales off 100% of her max HP, remove any damage over time effects like burn, poison, electrocute, bleed, etc. She will have a 40% chance of removing HP recovery reduction debuff present. Upgrading the skill will guarantee the removal. If you have gotten her skill page, the ability will also grant the target a defense penetration level 3 buff for 2 turns. Her special is another non-attacking ability. It will resurrect the fallen mage's HP back to 60% of their own max HP. If the ally mage is alive, it will heal the target HP by 60% of their own HP along with status ailment removal. Upgrading the skill to its maximum level will heal the targeted mage's HP back to 100%. Her combined attack allows her to grant her partner mage SP plus 2 buff along with a 40% chance of granting another SP plus 1 buff. Upgrading the skill to its max level will guarantee the SP plus 1 buff. If you have her LR plus 2 passive, this ability will grant the partner mage a total of plus 4 SP. If you are just starting the game, I would suggest you to prioritize on finishing your key mages first before you start to invest in her skills. Investing will improve Mimosa's overall utility, but it won't be as impactful investing in a meta festival mages like Mirleona, Black Asta, or Julius. Those mages should prioritize first before you start to focus on upgrading her skills. Now let's cover on her skill page. Her skill page allows her to have a 60% chance to grant 15% increased magic attack buff for 1 turn upon her using a skill. The skill page will also upgrade her skill 2 to grant the targeted mage a defense penetration buffs level 3 for 3 turns. At max enhancement levels, you will have a guaranteed chance of activating the magic attack buff, and the buff effect will be upgraded to 30% increased magic attack up. Unless you are targeting the upper leagues and have big spending power, I won't recommend you to chase too hard for the skill page or dupes. You can end up hurting your resources to pull for the upcoming units. You can get a copy of her skill page by buying the battle pass if you can afford to spend a small amount of money for it. If you don't have her skill page, you can either focus on skill pages that boost her utility or buffing up her HP. For skill page replacement, you can use either one of the following skill page to boost her HP pool: the Adventurer's Journal or SR Charmy skill page. You can also give her skill 2 additional utility by equipping Clover Academy Mimosa skill page. You can also make her more tankier by boosting her own defense with the Moonlight Necklace skill page. Now let's cover on her talents. Given her higher magic attack stat, the attack boost isn't crucial. I suggest giving her Battle Frenzy for a 2.5% rate up to 5 times per wave and increased magic attack for a 7% increase in magic attack. For Craved Stone, you can use any stone that you like since Party Mimosa's main role isn't for her offensive output. For the defense and critical resistance part, I will recommend you to go for the Endurance defensive talent, which gives her 4% defense and 2% critical resistance, up to 5 times per wave, along with the increased max HP talent for a 5% increase in max HP for stronger healing utility. For the Craved Stone, you will want to give her the defense talent Craved Stone to boost her defense. In the support talent wheel, you should choose the increased damage resistance for the 10% damage reduction. For the other talent, you can pair it with either Mage's Blessing or Swiftness. Mage Blessing allows her to have a 20% chance of cool down her skill 2, which could allow her to spam her skill 2. You can also opt for a more reliable Swiftness, which grants SP plus 1 buff when Party Mimosa has less than 2 special points. This will come handy if you want her to use her special more often. Personally, I would recommend the Swiftness over Mage's Blessing for PvE and Mage's Blessing over Swiftness for PvP. For HP heavy fights, you will want to have her to use her special to heal or resurrect any fallen allies as a higher priority, so swiftness will be a better talent passive for that situation. If you are facing enemies have annoying damage over time mechanics like burn, bleed, electrocute, poison etc., you should equip Mimosa with Mage's Blessing instead. With Mirleona and Witch Queen are most common units used in PvP, the ability remove those damage over time effects will be good for your team. If you have limited stamina budget to grind for talent seeds, prioritize on maxing out her green support wheel first, followed by her blue defense talent wheel. If you manage to get her to LR+2, you will find using her a lot, so she has great value for long-term investment. Now let's focus on her gear sets. Generally, you want Party Mimosa to have as many turns as possible to buff your party SP while having a high HP pool to allow her to boost her healing utility. For gear sets, there are 2 builds for her. As more turns is important for her, the secret of the deep sea gear pieces are high priority gear pieces that you will want to equip on Mimosa. Having 2 pieces of that gear set will give a 5% speed buff for 2 turns at the start of the wave. If you want to make her really fast, you can give her the full set, which permanent boost her speed stat by 5. In the speed gear set, for the other 2 pieces you either give her the small attack and defense pieces from the Great Merchant set for 30% defense buff, or 2 pieces from the Iron Maiden set for 7% HP buff. Defense buff will work better in arena, while HP buff only boosts the healing utility. If she cannot survive, she won't have the turn to heal your mages. You can also use the Scorching Sky HP set if you are unable to get the Iron Maiden's advanced HP gear pieces. If you want to bulk her HP up, you can go for the 3 small attack pieces with 4 large HP pieces as shown on the screen. I opted to use 1 HP set, 1 defense set and 1 speed set combination. For substats, you can focus on HP, HP %, defense %, critical resistance %. So which set is better? To be honest, it will depends on level of your Mimosa enhancements and whether you have her skill page. If she is at enhancement level 2 and you have her skill page, you can go with the full speed with 2-piece defense piece set. This is because you want her to act as many turns as possible to boost her SP refill mechanics. Likewise, if you only can afford her to be at base, you will probably use her primarily as a healer, so the HP gear set on the right will be the preferred gear set for her. The key reason why Mimosa is an offensive healer mage is due to the buffs that she grants along her SP refill with her LR+2 passive. With her LR+2 passive, Mimosa can refill the party member's SP with her SP+1 regen buff whenever she takes turn. The regen will only take effect when Mimosa execute her turns. Because of her SP refill mechanics, you can pair her with Ceremony Charlotte to allow your mages to spam their special. With the introduction of Witch Queen, Black Asta has become a menace. By pairing the infamous duo with Ceremony Charlotte and Party Mimosa, Black Asta can activate his anti-magic twice. The party also won't die easily since Mimosa can resurrect any fallen allies with her special. Mimosa combo attack is a very powerful SP refill skill. With base level, you can refill the partner mage +2 SP along with 40% chance of filling an additional +1 SP. If Mimosa has her LR+2 passive and the +1 SP is triggered, the combo attack will refill the SP of the partner mage by 4. The partner mage will take lesser time to be able to use his or her special again. On the screen, you can see a sample of the rotation. This combo can allows you to cheese endgame PvE content like Hall of Illusions Limited Challenge. With the introduction of Mirleona, mono green team comps in PvP will also rise to prominence. Useful mono green mages include the following. When using a mono green team comp, Ceremony Charlotte will grant barrier to all mages that scales off 80% of her HP at the start of the turn. If you have Ceremony Charlotte at LR+2, she can give barrier to the mage with highest attack. When using a mono green team comp, Hateful Fauna will grant the party status ailment immunity at the start of the battle. So what role do Party Mimosa plays in a mono green setup? She can grant the unit with the highest attack invulnerability buff at the start of the wave. Invulnerability will allows the mage to be immune to damage. At LR plus 2, Party Mimosa will give SP plus 1 buff for every turn she takes. Pairing with Ceremony Charlotte, you can always ensure Mirioliana's skill points will get filled up in a jiffy. Party Mimosa is also a top-tier healer mage with resurrection mechanics. The only downside is her healing utility is mainly single target. After the seasonal banner, we should expect 2 more story mages joining the fold if the game follow the JPKR timeline. Unless the developers make changes to the banner rotations, one of them should be the highly rated Dizitni Vanessa. When you are bring a green mono party, Vanessa will grant defender mages Red Thread of Fate. Red Thread of Fate is a buff that grants immortality for a 1 turn if the mage's HP is equal or lower than 30%. With her LR plus 2 passive, she can also boost Mirioliana's mobility whenever she takes a turn. In short, more Mirioliana turns means more Mirioliana attacks. The other PvP team comp is the Witch Queen Black Asta tandem with Ceremony Charlotte and Party Mimosa for SP refill spamming. This team won't that effective in PvP compared to mono green team comp or the degusting mono red team comp if you have Golden Dawn Yuno and heavily invested party costume Charmy. Now let's cover on the other mage, Party William. In general, Party William is a technique attribute type defender mage. His key roles involve the following. He is a defender mage whose mechanics interact with counter-attack mechanics. However, he has a major limitation is that his kit don't offer any counter-attack. In other words, he relies on counter-attack allies to allow him to operate to his full potential. His skill 1 allows him to convert his defense stats to improve his damage output. His skill 2 allows him to apply barrier block if you have his skill page. His special grants the party fortify along with debuff immunity. Depending on the number of counter-attack buffs present, William can either provide offensive or more defense mitigation support. Without it, those are the utility that Party William offers. With his passives, William provides support for the party and boosts their offensive capabilities. His LR passive grants the party mage with the highest all attack stats a protection buff for 2 turns if you are deploying a full mono blue team comp. Protection buff will allows that mage to be avoid being targeted. At LR plus 2, William will inflict continuous damage electrocute on all enemies at the start of the turn for 2 turns if you are deploying a full mono blue setup. At LR plus 5, on top of the electrocute continuous damage triggers, he will grant the attacker mages with the 30% increased damage dealt buff for 1 turn if the following 2 conditions are met. You are using a mono blue team setup and the attacker has counter-attack buff active. Electrocute buff will deal damage to targets that scales off 5% of both William attack and magic attack stats. If you noticed, there are 2 ratings for William. To allow William operate at his max efficiency, he requires high investment for both himself and specific allies. As William don't have any counter-attack enable mechanics, you need to bring allies to provide the counter-attack mechanic. Notable allies with counter-attack mechanics are Ceremony Luck and Clover Academy Charlotte. For skill pages, you will want his skill page for that awesome barrier block immunity and passive healing utility. Likewise, you can use skill pages like the Moonlight Necklace, Mars, or SR Asta skill page. As William is a defender mage, HP and defense are key priorities. Unlike his base version, Party William isn't the fastest unit and comes with an average speed. However, you want to give him speed gear set so he can apply his barrier block or defensive buffs. So should I pull for him or choose him from Gateway of Reunion? In my opinion, there isn't a general consensus on whether to pull for a unit. It really depends on whether you are a free-to-play or having a vast roster already. If your roster has a heavily invested Ceremony Luck and Clover Academy Charlotte, you will reap the benefits of having Party William in the party. He can also make attackers hit harder with counter-attack. If you are missing out the counter-attack units, Clover Academy Charlotte or Ceremony Luck, I would suggest you choose Party Mimosa over him. Besides, most veteran players who have played the game regularly would most probably have a fully invested normal William, who is still one of the top mages for PvP content. With the overview covered, let me talk about his skills. Now let me go through his kit. In general, William is an defender mage and his utility scales up with the presence of counter-attack buff. However, William himself don't provide that vital counter-attack buff, which makes his kit feel incomplete. To enable William to operate at his maximum efficiency, you need counter-attack enabler mages like Clover Academy Charlotte or Ceremony Luck. Before I proceed to talk about her kit, let me briefly explain the fundamentals of building a good team comp. In general, every good team comp needs a balanced set of characters playing their various roles. To be honest, bringing a full team of attacker mages won't get you to clear endgame content. To upgrade the skills, you need to use wool shards. Wool shards can be bought at the world regional shops monthly. If you upgrade your world reputation to level 2, you will unlock the option to buy the highest tier upgrade material. If you haven't done so, I will suggest you to start leveling up the reputation level by doing bond patrol or memory hall fights for that specific world. You can also get skills upgrade materials at your squad shop if you have joined a squad. You can buy them weekly with guild medals or monthly with guild raid coins. So try to level up and join a guild. If you have spending power, you can buy skills enhancement chests at the premium Black Crystal shop. Now let me go through his skill set. His skill 1 Mistiltean Seed is a single target HP attack and scales off his defense stats. For every 1000 defense stat, he will gain 8% increased damage dealt debuff. If William has 20k defense stats, the increased damage dealt buff will be 32%. If counter-attack buff is present on any ally, the skill will grant the ally an 80% increased defense buff to all allies. His skill 2 Rapid Growth is a single target attack ability that allows him to inflict 2-turn taunt if counter-attack buff is present on William. If you have his skill page, William will also apply Barrier Block on the target for 2 turns. Barrier Block will prevent the target from gaining barrier buffs. His special Great Mistiltean Tree is an AoE attacking ability. The skill will grant the party Fortify level 3 and debuff immunity buff for 2 turns. For every instance of counter-attack buff present on the party, a 5% reduced damage taken buff will be granted to the party. If there are 4 instances, the reduced damage taken will be improved to 20%. If counter-attack buff is present on the mage, the buff will be extended by a turn. The combined attack is an AoE ability with William having a 30% chance of inflict the stun status ailment for 1 turn. Upgrading the skill to level 4 will upgrade the chance to 60%. Stun can be a game changer in arena fights. However, you shouldn't use this if your party is ready to counter-attack. As Party William is a PvE specialist mage, you want to upgrade his combined attack, special, and skill too. Yup. He is a mage that needs to have heavy investment. Now let's cover on his skill page. His skill page allows William to provide passive heal that scales off 45% of his own defense as HP recovery to the ally with the current lowest HP ratio. With the skill page, William's skill will be enhanced to apply Barrier Block for 2 turns. For Barrier Block to be applied, it needs to be applied before the barrier buff is applied. At max enhancement level for the skill page, the passive heal will be upgraded to 120%. Unless you are targeting the upper leagues and have big spending power, I won't recommend you to chase too hard for the skill page. You can end up hurting your resources to pull for the upcoming units. Similar to most defenders, if you don't have their skill page, you can use skill page that focus on raising defense. For skill page replacement, you can use Mars, SR Asta, or the Moonlight Necklace skill page. Now let's cover on his talents. To understand what is the best talent settings, you need to know what is the mage's primary role. William is a defender mage specialized in counter-attack setups. To ensure that you can counter, defense is a high priority because your mages won't counter if they cannot survive. For his attack talent wheel, I would suggest giving him increased battle frenzy and increased magic attack. Increased magic attack will increase his magic attack stats by 7%. For the other talent, battle frenzy will be the better option since it allows him to gain 2.5% increased critical rate buff that could stack up to 5 times. For the talent craved stone, I would suggest you give William the attack talent stone to enhance his damage from his starting electrocute continuous damage as the damage scales off his magic attack and attack stats. For the defense talent wheel, I recommend you to go for the endurance defensive talent, which gives him 4% defense and 2% critical resistance, up to 5 times per wave along with increased defense that boost his defense by 20%. For the craved stone, you will want to give him the defense talent craved stone. William has mechanics that scales off his defense stats. So having higher defense stats on him is favorable. In the support talent wheel, you will have a wide variety of options like one shown on the screen. Increased damage resistance will result William to improve his damage resistance by 10%. William will most probably taunt lock targets to him with his skill 2. Mage Blessing allows him to have a 20% chance of cool down his skill 2, which could allow him to apply barrier block with his skill 2. I myself will probably pair this with Mage Blessing so he can apply his barrier block debuff. You can also opt to use increased accuracy and penetration to enhance his damage potencies. Penetration stats is good for handling enemies with high defenses. Whenever your mage attacks, a certain portion of the target's defense is ignored when damage is dealt based on the character's penetration stat. On the other hand, accuracy will helps to boost William's survivability as it allows him to have higher chance of damage reduction activation. Resolution is an arena-specific passive or when you are fighting a debuffer type PvE boss. With this passive, the mage will gain debuff immunity for a turn upon resisting damage successfully. William can negate damage with his Fortify from his special and increased defense buff from his skin with the counter-attack mechanic present. For Craved Stone, you can choose either Critical Resistance or Life Talent Stone to boost his HP pool. You can also give William a Speed Stone so he can move a bit faster to apply Taunt with Barrier Block debuff and take advantage of his passive heals. Since you probably will rotate the talents based on the content that you are tackling. If you decide to invest in Mono Blue, he will be your arena mainstay for a foreseeable future. Maxing out his talent wheels will be greatly beneficial. Now let's focus on his gear sets. Generally, you want Party William to have as many turns as possible to taunt lock key opposition mages, applying barrier block and support allies with passive heals. Similar most defender mages build, you can give William 3 small magic attack piece along with 4 defense piece. The higher defense stats that William has, the harder he will hit with his skill 1 and better heals that he gives if you have him equipped with his skill page. The optimal gear pieces is the advanced speed, advanced defense piece and advanced HP set. You can replace advanced attack set if you want to enhance his elect root continuous damage. Giving William 2 pieces of the advanced defense or great merchant set will boost his defense by 30% upon entering the battle. Giving William 2 pieces of the advanced speed gear pieces will grant William a 5% speed buff that helps a lot in setting up his buffs for the party. If you have previously built Black Asta gear with high def percent but did not prioritize critical rate and critical damage, those gear pieces can be used for William. With the introduction of Party William, Mono Blue counter-attack team comps will become a viable option in PvP. William synergize well with counter-attack enabler mages like Ceremony Luck and Clover Academy Charlotte. His buffs will boost the party survivability while giving attacker more offensive boost if you manage to get him to LR +5. On the right side of the screen you can see sample of team comps for the Moon Blue that you can set up with William. Mono blue team comp can be viable, but that is if you are willing to commit heavy resources in investing in them. I won't suggest you to pull too hard for William, as there are a lot of mages that you need to save resources for future mages that are also vital for future mono blue team comp setups. With this, I have come to end of my video guide. If you like the video, please give a like. Please subscribe to support the channel to bringing you more Black Clover mobile content. Have a nice day. Bye.